So today I'm filming a wrap-up. So I haven't filmed a wrap-up in a few months. So these are going to be all the books I read from February till April. So yeah, in total there are 8 books that I'm going to be talking about today, and I'm so excited to talk about every single book and just share my feelings with you guys and tell you what I've been reading. So let's just get started with the video. So starting with February, I read 2 books, and the first one that I read was Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer. So this is the first graphic novel in the series, and it's a spin-off of the Lunar Chronicles, and it's about Aiko, which is the android from the Lunar Chronicle series. And let me tell you, I was so excited for this book. If you guys watched my most anticipated reads of 2017, this book was on it, and I'm so happy that I got it and that I read it because I really enjoyed it. The art is by Doug Holgate, and he did an amazing job with this art. Like, I love it so much. It's pretty simple, but it's just so good. And since I'm really bad at visualizing what characters look like, I never really had a good image of these characters in my head. My neighbor is just walking around up and down his driveway. But I never really had a clear picture of what these characters looked like until now, because they are all right here and I can see them, and it makes me so happy. So I highly recommend you read this graphic novel if you enjoyed the Lunar Chronicle series and just want more from that world. I do believe this is a series of graphic novels. I don't know how many there are going to be, but I really enjoyed this first one and I cannot wait for the next one. So the second book that I read in February was My Soul to Take by Rachel Vincent, which is the first book in the Soul Screamer series. This was one of my favorite series when I was in elementary school, when I was in grade 7. I really enjoyed this series. It's a really fun, entertaining kind of paranormal fantasy story. It's about banshees and death, and it's good. It's good. The characters are really enjoyable, and I really have been wanting to reread this series because I haven't read the final 7th book in the series, and it came out years ago, like 3 years ago I think. So I've been waiting a long time to finish this series, and so I'm really happy that I've finally gotten around to rereading the books, and the first book was phenomenal and I'm so happy that I read it. That one's my least favorite in the whole series, so I don't really have a whole lot to say, but what I really enjoyed about this book was that Todd, my favorite character in the whole series, had a much bigger part in the second book than in the first one. And I really enjoyed seeing more of him again.
Why is my neighbor just pacing up and down, like, go away? Anyways.
So I really enjoyed rereading the first 2 books. And now we're into April, and April is where I read most of these books. I read 5 of these books that I'm talking about this month in April. So I read My Soul to Keep, which is the 3rd book in the Soul Screamer series. Again, I don't have much to say about this one, but I really enjoyed rereading it. So the second book that I read in April was The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. I wish I had better things to say about this book, but I've been wanting to read this book for 2 years. 2 of my closest friends recently read it, and they were raving about it, and they convinced me to pick it up in April, and unfortunately I didn't like it. Unfortunately, the story just fell flat for me. I don't care about any of the characters. I found them to be quite boring. I found the story overall to be quite uninteresting, and I wasn't very engaged in the story. Honestly, nothing about this book really intrigued me. I didn't even really like Holly Black's writing style in this book, and the romance creeped me out, and I didn't ship it at all, which is a very unusual thing for me because I normally always ship somebody in a book, but I just didn't agree with the ship. And honestly, it fell really flat, and I was really underwhelmed the whole time I was reading it. I was really expecting at one point to just be grabbed in, and I was expecting to just fall in love without realizing it, and it just never happened. And so unfortunately I didn't enjoy this book. The next book that I read, I can thoroughly say I really enjoyed, and that is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I have watched the TV show when it was released. I finished it rather quickly. I started it the day it came out at about 3 o'clock, and then I finished it the next morning before I went to work. And let me just tell you, I loved the TV show a bit more than I enjoyed the book, but I love them both for their different reasons. I just love how the show went so much more into depth in the characters and the whole world that the story takes place in. So I really enjoyed that, but I also really enjoyed this aspect where we mainly focused on Clay. It's just an extremely important book to read and also a really important show to watch. It's just phenomenal. The way it deals with suicide and with the whole topic of bullying in general is really amazing, and I love the theme of the story, which is everything affects everything, which is a direct quote from the book. Everything affects everything. Everything you say and do matters to somebody, and you know, any little thing can set someone over the edge, and it's just a really important message to understand. And I do hopefully plan on filming a discussion video about the book and the show together, because I have a lot of thoughts about it. I just don't know when I'm going to get around to filming that. But as you can see, I did tab some things. I tabbed my favorite quotes that I found, and it was just overall a really enjoyable book, and I highly recommend it. If it just interests you, or if you watched the show and loved the show, highly recommend just picking this book up. Then the next book that I read was Fireside by Casey West. So after reading 13 Reasons Why, I knew that I wanted to read something a lot more happy. So I picked up this Casey West book, which is her most recent book that she's published. Came out in January. I believe it came out January 31st. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was just so cute, and I ship the main characters so hard. You guys don't even know how hard I fangirled during this book. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and this book just reinforced my love for Casey West after I read The Film Boyfriend. I was obsessed, and so now I have to read her other books, and I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I need to read all of her books. Like, I am in love with her writing and her romance, and I love it so much. They're just cute. They're just cute. And the last book that I read in April is what I finished yesterday, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. So yes, I've been wanting to read this book for years. It took me a while to realize that I was enjoying it. Like, it was alright, and I wasn't disliking it. But then at a certain point, I just started to really enjoy it. And let me tell you, I love these characters. The story is definitely character driven, and I love that. Just a really enjoyable story, and I'm really interested to see how the rest of the story plays out over the next 3 books. And I think I'm going to finish it over the summertime, when I can get them from the library. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I'm so happy that I picked it up because it was good. It was good. I recommend it. It was great. It was great. Those are all the 8 books that I've read since February. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you have read any of these books, because I'm really interested to know. And give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.